Hi Ralph, and welcome to the Maestro Online.
Thank you. Lovely to be doing it.
Now, you've gained yourself a phenomenal reputation, you've had an amazing career, but where did it all begin for you?
Well, we were a very musical family. My father particularly adored music, so did my mother. And they both said, before they met each other, they both said, whoever they are, they must love music. Not be good at music, love music. And so when they met each other, that was everything happened. And they had 5 children. I was the first. And my father was a mathematician, physicist, a lay preacher at the church as well. And he used to play the piano a lot. He had his party pieces. His favourite composers were Gershwin and Messiaen, because of the complexity of both of them. He adored that. He adored making complexity beautiful. That's what he liked about mathematics. And he designed underwater sonar for submarines, so that submarines could hear each other. Anyway, and he brought home an oscilloscope once, a thing for plotting waves and drawing graphs of wave patterns. And I would go until I managed to make the noise of a sine wave, and it was on the screen. Anyway, so I played the piano a lot. They gave me piano lessons. They gave all of us piano lessons. That was a lovely piano. My great-great-grandfather was a piano maker, and I just loved the sound that things make, that the piano makes, and the different chords. And when I was about 15, for some reason I said, can I give up? I don't want to have any more piano lessons. Now, most parents, and certainly me as a teacher, would tend to say, but you love it and you're good at it, carry on. But they just said, yes, of course, my parents. And after that, I played the piano 4 times as much as I did, because I didn't have to learn the pieces, and I just wanted to make up things. And that's when I started playing things in all different keys and loving playing them in keys. I also had the very, very good fortune of going to one of the best state schools you can find. My parents couldn't possibly have afforded fees for private schools. We didn't even know what they were, really, boarding schools. God, do people go and stay away from their parents? Oh, anyway, I managed to pass the 11 plus and went there, and there were stunning teachers there. A chap called John Walker, who was a wonderful eccentric, who booked St. Paul's Cathedral. How about this for a state school? Booked St. Paul's Cathedral, booked a big orchestra, the best soloists of the day, and did Dream of Gerontius of Elgar. And I can remember now, go with the name, Angels and Archangels. To this day, I remember singing that. I remember exactly where I was sitting. Anyway, I always wanted to be a teacher, from the age of 13. And it started off being because I liked the idea of bossing around lots of people all at once. And then gradually I realised that there was a bit more to it, and there was a bit of kindness and giving that came into the formula for being a teacher. And I thought, well, what am I going to teach? Well, it's obviously maths and physics. So, but I thought, oh, I love it. One day I heard the school choir, which was superb, when I wasn't in it. I was in it at one time, but not in another. And hearing the school choir, I thought, what a beautiful. And they were singing. The Berlioz, Thou Must Leave. Thou Must Leave Thy Lowly Dwellings. And it was such a beautiful sound that I thought, I want to create that by getting people together to create it. But I went to university to do maths and physics, and I was going to be a physics or maths teacher. But then the idea more and more came to me of changing. And they actually invited me, the music department invited me to change and to music, because I did a subsidiary of music. Mind you, I did a subsidiary of music only by putting my foot down. The man behind the desk said, right, what do you want? Your subsidiary subjects to be? It can be probability, statistics, numerical maths, and listed them, mechanics and things. And I said, can you do music? He said, no, it's got to be one of these. So I said, all right, I'll do numerical maths, and off I went. And I came back to the desk, this is as a 19-year-old, and I said, could I change my subsidiary? He said, you're the one that wanted to do music. Well, you can't. I said, why can't I? And they said, because it doesn't timetable. I said, could you check it doesn't timetable? Pointing to their books. There's a great queue of students behind me. Could you check it doesn't timetable? And they looked at me like that and looked back at the queue and said, well, that fits. That fits. Those two fit, but we don't recommend it. And I said, music, please. And if I hadn't done that as a 19-year-old, I wouldn't be sitting here now. Anyway, so I ended up teaching music, went into an independent school which had no music at all at the time. It has lots nowadays, Pangbourne College, and just started it like crazy. Had the chance just before that at the University of going from Durham to King's Cambridge and sang with David Wilcox in King's Choir. I was also lucky enough when I was at Durham to sing in Durham Cathedral Choir, became senior choral scholar of that, which was lovely, and then King's, which was fantastic, and went on tour. And so gradually I did more and more, but all the time the piano was my friend. I don't think of myself as a fluent pianist particularly. I'm a functional pianist that works things out, tunes that I want to do, and I can play anything in any key. Well, anything. I mean, I can play simple things in any key, all the hymns and all that. And I used to love hymns, and as a boy, and I played. If I found it, I used to love this, and I used to spend hours playing it in lots of different keys, which I can do to this day. Anyway, and that equipped me with all the skills for what I want to do now.
So how about you're renowned, particularly for your choral work? So how did you become, or what do you think was your journey to make you the choral director that you're respected for now?
Thank you. Well, I was fortunate enough to go to a school with excellent singing, of course, and I heard the school choir because I didn't happen to be in it at the time. I knew all about church music in a way, in a very amateur way, from where my parents worked very hard at Sunday school. And I heard that piece and I thought, oh, that is so beautiful, I want to produce it. But it wasn't just the sound of the choir, it was beautiful modulations, different keys that came. But I suppose the sound of a really good choir I love to produce. And nowadays, coming very fast forward, that we know all about just intonation and tuning chords better than the piano is tuned, although this one has a slightly quirky tuning system in order to get the home keys, C, B flat, D, and F and G, really in tune. But nowadays, with that method of tuning choirs, I love getting choirs really beautifully in tune and making nice sounds from them.
Now, another important thing to you has been, obviously, you do a lot by ear, and that as a young person you were talking about, whenever you discovered a progression you liked, a chord progression, playing it in all the keys and getting used to it.
Yes.
But one of the things as a choral specialist that you've been really interested in is improving people's sight reading, because
yes.
Traditionally, people seem to have the image that you either can do it or you can't do it. But that's not your view, of course.
Well, yes. Well, actually, Don't tell anyone, but it was because I wasn't very good at it myself to start with, because I hadn't been a chorister in a cathedral. My parents didn't know about chorister or cathedral, or, well, they knew about cathedrals, obviously, but we didn't know about the choir schools. And I hadn't been there and had that kind of experience. So I hadn't gone through the mill of learning how to do it. And the cathedrals are very good at teaching youngsters how to read. But my sirening thing, and it's now in a book, which is this Novello, the Novello Guide to Sightseeing. And so I think it was because I worked out how to read myself that I reckon I can teach it. And it needs to be taught, because so many people teach singing by rote, and it's so easy and to resort to that. So if you are singing Tell Me a Hymn or something,
Tell Out My Soul.
Okay, so if you're singing Tell out my soul the greatness of the Lord. Okay, it's so easy to say, right, everybody, it goes like this. And you always bang it too hard and unmusically. So with me, tell out my soul. Now, if you want to get them to do it by reading, you don't do that. You say, right, what key is this? And C major. What makes it C major? Why is it C major? That we call a C, and C major is the scale which comes. Those notes happen to fit rather nicely between them, and over the centuries we have called that a major scale. So you learn that, and you say, well, that's a C, and it goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's a C. Now, I said G then, didn't I, on my way up? Can you work out what it is? Oh, sort of thing. If you're in a class or in a choral society, you can adapt that to adults. And just think it, and then when you've got it, hum it. So they go, with any luck, and some will go, and do all sorts of things, but the whole art of teaching is to find someone who's doing it well and make a fuss of them, rather than concentrate on the ones who are not, because you can be pretty sure the ones who are not will want to be the ones who are getting it right. Otherwise they wouldn't be here with you. So so it goes, tell out my soul. That's a G. G, 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 C. What's the next note? And you show them the music. Dum, da, da, dee. Oh, they say, that's another G. All right, sing the next G. Da. Yes, that's it. Now, the next one, look at it. What is the next one? That's an A. Who can sing an A then? No. No. Have another go. I'll do the first one. Now, here's a clue. You've got to hear the scale. Now, can you hear the notes? Okay, sing up the scale. Dee da 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 dee 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 dee. Now, when you get to G, say the notes. C, D, E, F, G, A. What? You've got it. Okay, so read it. Now, from there, go on. Now, the next one's a bit more difficult to get, because you've got to go a whole fourth down. But anyway, that's the trick for doing it.
And we'll come to that in your sight singing course.
Yeah.
So for you, one art of the work you're doing then in what you've just shown us is internalisation.
Yes.
People processing sound in their mind, trying to work out what it sounds like in their mind, and then reproduce it in their voice.
Yes.
What do you think your greatest skill as a choral conductor is then in bringing choirs out of just singing the notes into performing a piece of music and taking it off the page to the audience?
Right. Now, that is something that over the years I've discovered and learnt from all sorts of people, because one tends to think that it's going to just come. You know, if you're doing a beautiful piece of music everybody will really love it and start putting it across. Not necessarily. And I have all sorts of tricks for doing that. So one of them is, take the words, let's say, when the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion. That's slightly obscure because it's an old Jewish psalm, but let's take it. When the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion. Or, no, let's say, a better one is, let's take, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord bless you and keep you. Well, you might say to people, bless you. Loads of people say bless you when they've done them a favour. That's a way of saying thank you. So everybody here, say after me, bless you. No, but mean it. Mean it. Somebody's been really good to you. And so you say bless you. Right, now sing it again then. The Lord bless you and keep you. So, the Lord bless you. Really mean it. And we build it up like that. The Lord bless you and keep you, for example. And
final question for you. Looking back, what do you think the pinnacle moment of your musical life has been?
Gosh! The pinnacle early point was singing Dream of Gerontius. Pinnacle later point, well, actually, I'm sorry, this may seem a bit of a cop-out, but I regard everything I do musically as a pinnacle. I like to think that if I'm doing a simple piece like Almighty God by Ford, that piece, even playing it then, made me get closer to crying, because it's such a beautiful thing. So everything I like, that's a cop-out, isn't it? I suppose one of the pinnacles was I hadn't done any. I'd conducted all of the Brahms symphonies except number 4, and number 4 is my favourite. It is. Is my favourite of the lot, and I was taught it at school at Tiffin, my state school, by David Neild, who's a brilliant teacher and still alive. And so I decided, all right, Ralph, I'll hire you an orchestra and you can do Brahms 4. I'd done 1, 2 and 3 before, and so I did. So last year, on my birthday, a birthday present to myself was to hire an orchestra to do Brahms 4th Symphony, and my old teacher was guest of honour, David Neild.
Ralph Allwood, thank you very much for sharing your life with us.